So I work with influencers, small businesses, entrepreneurs that don't have an automated way to sell their products, productize their business. So for example, if you're selling one-on-one, how can we work together to actually put that?
Now, how did you become such an expert? Was it really just by trial and error doing your own?
Yeah, so the difference, I guess, a lot of when I get this question, I'm like, it's not that I just started using these platforms now. I already tested them on my previous business. We always recommend people to only start with like $15, $20 a day. Now, we also need to understand, okay, do you want to, well, first, if you're just doing this for the first time, I'm not going to advise you to spend $100.
Brando, hey, let me tell you the truth. It's not about who you know, but who knows you. Brando, it's your story. You can rewrite it if you so choose. It's your life. You decide those moves. Brando, you want to talk about getting the bag? He built a 7-figure brand from scratch. Brando, it's the Brand Up podcast, but you already know. Enough talking, bro. Let's start this show. Brando.
Fridays with Friends, featuring a new friend of mine today whom I met on LinkedIn. But as we were chatting out in the hallway, we found out we have some of the net web that webs back to 2016. You are watching Fabulous, Fierce, and on Fire Fridays with Friends on Unity Radio. We are Worcester's Community Connection, 97.9 FM. So, Marian, let's share with the group a little bit about you, who you are, and that little fun story from back in 2016.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. So we'll just share the short version of the story, I guess, because if not, we can probably have an entire day here. So I immigrated to the States. I was born and raised in Romania, Europe. I came here in 2013, and for the first 2.5 years was just the immigrant mindset. I put my head down, I just worked, 7 days a week, no vacation. Me and my wife, we saved up some money. And then in 2015, we put together our savings. We bought a truck, and I started a small, it was a furniture delivery business at the time. So we got a couple of contracts with some fitness shops where we're delivering their machines and then some furniture. And slowly that business grew, and it got into interstate, international, moving and storage type of operation. And funny enough, because we were talking about this just a couple moments ago. So in 2016, that business grew exponentially. And what happened was I had to leave the country for about 6 months just for like immigration papers and things like that to make sure everything was done in the right place at the right time. And at the time, the business almost doubled while I was away. So what happened was a lot of like friends of mine that had, contracting business, local brick and mortar shops, started to ask questions like, dude, you were away for 6 or 7 months. What happened? Share with us a couple things, like how were you doing, what you were applying, how did you learn that stuff? So organically, I started to help a couple friends. And then I didn't even know at the time that it was called consulting. So I started to help other small local businesses.
By the way, it's not called consulting unless you're being paid to do it.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So that's why it wasn't even called, because I wasn't getting paid for it at first. And then slowly I started to work with a couple local businesses. And then in 2017, I really got familiar with this whole concept of online advertising, sales funnels. So I was applying a lot of the things that I learned myself into that business, but I wasn't necessarily doing it for somebody else, right? So I got really focused into the sales funnels world. I started to apply that first to my brick and mortar business. I realized that it works pretty well, starting to upsell, downsell, cross-sell, all kinds of stuff that I was never thinking that it's possible. So from that, I think in the summer of 2018, one of my funnels hit 7 figures, and then I got really kind of known in the online community with, the Two Comma Club and all the rest of the things. So kind of from there, everything just grew organically. Working with local businesses, I realized one thing. Everybody wants to grow differently, meaning, a person that doesn't want to have more locations, they're kind of capped at a level where they either double their prices or they hire more people, right? So, and then slowly some people that were just working online, like influencers, people with large YouTube channels started to approach me and ask me like, hey dude, can you help us with our funnels? Can you help us with our online game? And I started to work with people that were offering their services online, health coaches, thought leaders that they had a large influence, but they didn't have an automated sales process on the back end of their business so they could actually monetize it and things like that. And then from there, pretty much that's what it is that I do today. So I work with influencers, small businesses, entrepreneurs that don't have an automated way to sell their products, productize their business. So for example, if you're selling one-on-one, how can we work together to actually put that into a program that helps you monetize it easily so you don't have to spend 12, 14-hour days.
Well, I'm glad to have you on because this is my way of getting a $10,000 coaching call for free and sharing it with everybody else so that we can all learn. We were just sharing out in the hallway. Part of that story is back in 2016, he actually had a moving company, and I was doing a different TV show then. I did the Real Estate Roadshow with Century 21 North Shore.
Yes.
And I actually interviewed one of his guys on the TV. This was a real production, like the whole production team came in, and he was scared. He was really scared.
Yeah, I remember I was watching. So I was in Europe at the time. I was watching one of my employees being interviewed by you, and I'm like, man, like I hope everything goes perfectly. I was behind the I was behind the TV, behind the computer, and I was watching it. And I remember back then it was one of those moments where, he wasn't used with like cameras and stuff like that, but it was all fun. It was, good moments to remember.
Let's face it, more people would rather die than do public speaking. And public speaking can be even as simple as networking. Like if you're at a networking event and you're talking to somebody you've never met before,
True.
To a lot of people, that's considered public speaking and scares the crap out of them. So
this is what we do right now.
Well, true. And most people would rather die than come on my show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So there's a couple of really big lessons to learn. First of all, we're going to learn a lot about funnels and selling your product online, and I can't wait to hear more about that. And I also want you guys to notice that one of the reasons why I do these shows is it gives me a great reason and way to reach out and meet fabulous movers and shakers and professionals and coaches and mentors. And, instead of just calling someone up or sending them a message on LinkedIn or Facebook saying, hey, sure would like to have a coffee with you. Want to get on the phone? Let's talk. like other people do who don't even want to get on the phone. They're afraid of getting on the phone. People are so afraid of the phone. But when you can do, and it doesn't have to be a TV show or a radio show, just doing a Facebook Live series.
Together, yeah.
Lisa Casillo that was on just before us, she's a customer and a client of mine, and she started doing a Facebook Live series before she started doing the radio show. So, 2 stories. Make sure that when you want to be seen and be heard, you start doing it. Do it on Facebook Live. Right now, you can go and start your own show, and when you want to meet people that are movers and shakers, you can invite them to be on the show. So we are going to talk over the next 3 segments a lot more about what you do and how you do it and who you serve. And so everybody stay tuned to learn some of those tips. And also one of the elements that I like to bring into the show is what you do to give back and be a contribution to the world and make a difference while you make money. And as I was mentioning that out in the hallway, you mentioned a group that you participate with. Let's give them a plug. Who was that?
100%. So I'm part of a mastermind with Cole Hatter in LA, Orange County area. So their movement, it's called Thrive, Make Money Matter. So they have a similar mission with what you do, like how to actually build your business model in a way that actually serves the community and makes you feel, well in the same time, because you can make money. Like there are multiple ways of making money, right? But at the end of the day, and also at a certain level, you're gonna realize that the moment you can impact somebody's life, it's a compounding effect, right? Like when I help one of my clients get more sales, make more profits, and multiply that, it's a compounding effect because they ultimately have more time to spend with their family, with their kids. They automatically just feel better because they're going to be able to serve more of their clients. So all of a sudden, I'm not just helping one person. It's a compounding effect that works together.
I love that. And you give the guys the names of these folks and
Sure.
spelling, then they can tag all of them. And to your point, Kathy Chapman just walked in, who is part of Positively for Pink. And so for me, with the purpose leverage marketing, to your point, when you help someone, you're actually helping on a whole, on multiple levels. Like you drop the pebble and the ripples go out. And we're starting a campaign today where we're doing Facebook Lives at 11 different businesses in the area, starting today with the first one. And we have a box that's going to be at each of these locations. And in the box, we're gathering items for the Worcester Animal Rescue League. So, toys, bedding, food, kitty litter, anything that goes with animals, you can drop off at these locations. So not only are we helping animals, but we're helping Positively for Pink to be seen and be known, and they help people with breast cancer in the Worcester County area. So as we are out promoting and just having fun, somebody with breast cancer is going to get their rent paid. They're going to get food for the next 2 or 3 months.
Love
These
that.
animals are going to get fed. So all these wonderful things are happening because we are making money, but we're making a difference at the same time. So I love that. I'd love to. So this group that you belong to, what do you do with them? You said it's a mastermind?
Yeah, so it's a mastermind. There are multiple. Well, this particular one is focused a lot on real estate investing. I'm also a real estate investor. So, but their entire movement, like they have a huge event. I think it was named by Forbes the number one event, the number one entrepreneurial event of the entire. THRIVE. His name is the person that organized everything is Cole Hatter. So COLE Hatter, HATTER. I mean, if you Google him, you see the entire movement.
So they have a movement. It's around real estate.
Both real estate. The event actually features a lot of business professionals, marketers, real estate investors. So it's more than just real estate. This particular mastermind that I'm being part of it is focused a lot on how to grow your real estate investing.
Gotcha. Well, Cole Hatter, I'll be reaching out to you. We're going to tag you here and talk a little bit about how the Mingle to Millions brand can get involved with Thrive and thrive alive, and don't just survive, thrive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere. So you are listening to Fabulous Fierce and on Fire Fridays with Friends, featuring Marian today. And you have an expert here to talk about funneling and making money online. So you can call in at 508-471-5265. So Marian, talk a little bit more about who is an ideal client for you and what do you actually do? Like, I like to know exactly what you do. All these concepts is one thing. What do you do?
Sure. So ideal customer, let's assume somebody's a health coach, right? It doesn't necessarily have to just serve the health community, but I'm just thinking one of my customers, right? She's a health coach. She's helping a lot of people get their health back through various programs. So for example, she was working a lot with people just one-on-one, and that was taking a lot of her time, right? So what I come in is, a couple different projects that we work together. So number one, she wanted first to sell a book, right? To launch a book. But I said, all right, let's focus on how we can make that, because we all know authors don't make money off of books, period.
That is true. For all of you who ask me how my book is doing, it opens a lot of doors, but $20 a book, you're not getting rich. Go ahead.
Exactly. So I said, okay, let's focus on what is the actual sales process you can get people in that is the most profitable for you. So she had a coaching program. I think people were paying at the time around $800 to $1,000 per program. So I think it was a 2-month program, something like that. So I said, okay, let's focus on building out a great offer. People don't buy your services. People don't buy courses. They buy an outcome, but position the outcome. You have to bundle a great offer. So we put together a course for her, for the people that would say, oh, but maybe I'm not available for that one-on-one consultation. No problem. You have this list of modules that you can also attend on your own time. Do everything that I say in there. She also recorded supermarket tours, teaching people how to actually shop and do their shopping in person in a healthy and affordable way. Because a lot of people would say, oh, in order to eat healthy, you have to spend tons of money. She teaches them the actual way to do it properly. So she recorded all those. We put together a great offer with a course, with a couple other things, like recipes, specific recipes per ingredient and things like that. And then we are able to raise that price from 800 to 1,000 all the way up to 3,000, and then another package that is 2,500. So she instantly doubled that just by being able to bundle up a lot of other things that she was having them already. She wasn't necessarily positioning them as bonuses in that offer, right? So first thing that we want to focus is we want to build an offer, and we want to focus on the sales process. The sales process for her was just a consultation. The way that we did was we add another layer where she put together a half an hour presentation, recorded one. So, I mean, we can call it an auto webinar, but I don't want to complicate things. It's essentially a video presentation where she explains step by step the ways that you can improve your health and get it back. And then at the end of that presentation, she invites people to book a call. Now, what happened was before, a lot of people were just booking calls without being qualified. Now, if they spend half an hour and then they book a call, it's a whole different way. They already know what's up. They know what she's talking about. They know exactly what she's about, what it's her specific process. And now it's just a matter of, okay, like what are the ways that we can work together? You can buy just the course itself, or you can just buy the entire package, right? And then once we have an offer that converts, so she started to test it with her, small group of people that already knew her. She started to realize that, okay, this works. Now we just put more gas into the fire, paid ads. She does now, like, I don't know if this second she still does it daily, but she did more than 6 months of daily Facebook Live, where, at the end of the day, she was doing the live, whatever people were asking questions about, she was doing another one next day. And then those promoted them to more and more people. So, she grew her email list up to now, I think like 6,000 people, her messenger bot list. So that allowed her, when we launched the book last month, she instantly became international bestseller in like 4 countries. How that works, you need a list, you need a couple people in each country to do it. But essentially, we focus on the offer, and then we focus on the sales process, and then we just put more gas onto that fire with paid media.
So let me ask you the question that's on my mind and would be on the minds of a lot of people that I know that are at a level where they need this sort of thing. They've tried this sort of thing. There's 100 people out there that say they can help you do this sort of thing. And it's so confusing and it is so overwhelming. And what system do you use? And how do you know it's a good offer? And how do we know to hire you instead of the other guy or the other gal or the other company? Calgon, take me away. So walk us through that. Like, how do we know who is going to be a good fit for us to help us figure out what our package is?
Sure. So we never just guess. We always start this entire, like I know I mentioned briefly what's the process, working on the offer and all the things. The easiest way to do it is you just look at somebody that's already doing an influencer, a competitor, make a list. Like, this is everything that we do from like the first moment that I talk to a client. We make a list of 5 to 10 competitors. Everybody can do this. They can go on YouTube, identify based on the keywords that their solution is regarding the problem that they solve. So, for example, somebody that's selling health services.
Let's use me for an example.
Okay, perfect. What do you sell exactly? What is the service?
Well, that's a little bit of the problem because I'm in a space where I am actually creating a market that isn't really there yet. So that's a little bit.
All right, number one competitor.
That's the problem. I can't find that person. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, what problem are you solving for your customer?
I am helping service providers. So my mission is to facilitate collaboration between for-profit and not-for-profit to massively increase the resources, relationships, and revenue for everyone. And what that means is, with the Purpose Leverage Marketing campaign, I help the business and the nonprofit to get in front of all the right people, to meet hundreds of people that they can do business with, that they can have social media interaction with, that they can have lead generation, that they can create collaborations and get to know all the other hundreds and thousands of people in the area. In other words, it's truly a relationship, lead generation, business building activity.
Got it. If we would rephrase that into just one short, simple key phrase for a 5th grader to understand, what do you think that would be? A key phrase?
Lead generation and business building.
Okay. So now
but so many people, and I'm playing with you with this because you'll really help a lot of people. Because lead generation, I've got a friend who does websites who says the same thing. You do funnels, you say the same thing. You know, people who have signs on the street, I do lead generation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So in order for us, and this may take a little bit more time to just do it right, the reason that I asked first is, okay, if we don't have a specific short keyword phrase that we can type in YouTube and see what pops up, more work to do to identify competitors. So if we don't know this key phrase, we need to focus on competitors. Who is your, like, who do you aspire to be like? Is it Lewis House? Is it, I don't know, Gary Vaynerchuk? Like, who is like, if you would just pick one person out of the entire world that you aspire to be like, who would that be?
Well, I'm going to say this name, but I can't say that I aspire to be like him, but I do like his material, and that's Grant Cardone.
Well, with him,
he's in sales. He's sales
he would
trained.
be a sales trainer. But here's the reason why, because maybe I give you more context. Maybe we can go from there. So first, we look on his YouTube channel, and on YouTube you have an option to go and search for his entire channel, and then sort the videos based on the most popular. The reason that we want to look at the most popular videos is we want to see what he wants to be known for, because those are organic content. So if I'm assuming his most viewed video might be around real estate, because that's his highest ticket. He wants you to invest in his real estate portfolio. But let's assume it would be something different. We would make a list of those 3 to 6 most viewed pieces of content on his YouTube channel. That's number one. We want to see what he wants to be known for. And then we can go, and every person can do this, at least at this point in time. You can go to facebook.com/ads/library and type in the name of the person that you want to hack. Well, hack in a good way. And we would see all his ads, literally every ad that he runs on his Facebook page from the entire world. So all of the
So say that again, facebook.com/ads/library, then their name.
Yeah, well, in there it's just going to pop up like an entire search bar, and you can type in everybody's name.
Got it.
So the reason that we need the competitor's name, and that's why we always start with 5 to 10, because everybody would say, I'm only myself, I don't have competitors. Well, we don't want to reinvent the wheel unless we have a huge budget to spend on and just keep testing and testing. We want to look at what works and then just put our own voice, our own message into it, and then target the same audience. Because the reason basically that we want to see the competitor is we want to see how we can put our message and target their audience, period. No.
Well, for example, one of the things I'm compared to is social entrepreneurs, but it's not exactly that. But if they're an entrepreneur and they care about social responsibility, then they need to see what I've got going on. So there's a guy, I can't think of his name right now, but there is a guy that's really has a lot with that, with social entrepreneurs.
Got it. Okay. So let's assume after this interview, you realize that you remember his name. You can go and type in his name on YouTube, both on this ads library section, and then you can literally see all the ads that he's running. Now, very important. We want to look at ads that are at least 3 months old. Why? Because it proves that they've been working. If you see ads that have been launched this month, those are still in test mode. You don't know yet if those are profitable or not. But if they've been running for 3 to 6 months, it means that they already, have a track record of making money off of it, and they left to run it for more.
This is gold if anybody's listening to this. And I'm going to see now I've got like 100 people I'm going to share this interview with, and you're going to get publicity. So keep going.
Go.
Good stuff.
So back to YouTube, very important tool that everybody can install. It's a Chrome extension tool, and it's called Keywords Everywhere. So the app is free. The credits to be able to do as many searches as you want, I think, is like $5 a month. So here's what Keywords Everywhere allows you to do. You can type in, the reason that I asked you what's a keyword or a phrase that you would say for your business, for the problem that you're solving for your customers, is good to type in YouTube. Keywords Everywhere will tell me how many people are searching for this per month, and how much are advertising willing to spend to target those keywords. The reason that this is even more golden than the other part is on YouTube, we can create content and then target keywords that you're not able to do on Facebook. So these two are two different worlds. YouTube, it's a search engine. it's owned by Google. Therefore, Google puts all their efforts into making sure that they get the people that create enough great content. We as advertisers and business owners, we can target their pieces of content and put our videos in front of them.
Awesome. So we're going to go to break. If you have a question for Adrian, call 508-471-5265. We are having a fascinating conversation today with someone who's actually a content contributor at Councils. How in the world, Marian, and let me just spell his last name, Esanu. That's how I found him on LinkedIn. How do you become a Forbes Council contributor?
So it's actually not that hard, or at least not as hard as people may want to kind of make it look. So I think I applied. A friend of mine sent me an application, asked me, "Hey, do you want to contribute to Forbes with articles and stuff?" And I'm like, well,
hell yeah. Yeah.
So they asked me a couple of questions. So I think one of the, if I'm not wrong, one of the key questions was, is your business making more than 6 figures a year in sales? Second, well, they kind of put me to submit a form, which was my LinkedIn profile, my YouTube channel, my Instagram. So they kind of looked at the type of influence that I already have, meaning to make sure that I'm a credible resource and I'm not going to post about, things that are not allowed on the on the
You're a real
site.
person.
Exactly. So, and then I think, well, at least that's how they made it sound, was for my business to make at least 6 figures a year in sales, and if I have a way to prove that. And I said obviously yes, because it was making more, and that was pretty much it. I think, well, and then you have to, of course, you have to pay yearly for that, and that is, I want to say, $1,700 a year.
I thought I saw something like that, but boy, that's well worth it.
Well, if just somebody that wants to feature is going to charge you close to 3-4K per like one article, right? And then you can write as many, I think is one per month, like the whole process. Once you submit an article, the back and forth a couple of times, it takes about 3 weeks to a month. So altogether.
Well, and now you have it in your title on LinkedIn that you are a contributor at Forbes. So, I mean, you can't pay for PR like that. And this is valuable information. So before we continue on, I want to hear the success that you had with your health person that you were talking about. And we'll talk a little bit more with how he's helping me to figure out who my people are. But we have a blueprint to offer out. So let's make sure we do that. What is this blueprint that people can look at to figure out how to do all these things that we're talking about and to get in touch with you?
Sure. So everything that we just talked previously regarding the questions on how to figure out, what are the tools that you can use, and pretty much everything that goes with it, I put together this blueprint so people can go to highendclientacquisition.com. And download everything from there, and then at the end they can book a call if they feel that this process can actually help them get more of their ideal customers. And once they go in there and download this for like 5 days, actually, they get an email with a separate lesson each day, and then at the end they also watch a complete free training on it. And then at the end they can just take it, and even right now, what we just talked about, people can go and implement it and see that it takes just a couple of, I don't know, maybe minutes, maybe an hour, 2 hours, and actually see results, as long as you go and implement it, right?
Well, it's just like anything else. People can watch my videos and stuff, and they can get ideas, and there's certain things they can implement. But at the end of the day, they also see, I need some help. I need some help with this. So please continue on. You were talking about going on the YouTube channel and finding
Yes.
their top videos. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for example, another reason that we want to see our biggest competitors, and we actually want people with millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views on their videos, because even if I just start my YouTube channel right now, but if I'm aware of the process that I'm talking about right now, I can actually target somebody that has a video with 1 million views on it without their approval. So I can go to Google AdWords, put together a video campaign, and in the targeting, it asks me, what is the placement that you want to put this video on? And I can say, all right, Grant Cardone's most viewed video, and then I just copy the link of it, I paste it to Google AdWords settings, and now I can just target his video. So when somebody clicks play on that video, before that video even plays, my video will actually play. Now, of course, in order for that to get results, you can, like, for example, somebody that sells health coaching, you won't be able to target somebody that sells real estate because it doesn't, like, they don't
Right.
correlate. But if, let's assume for you, you have lead generation and sales, let's assume, and you want to target Grant Cardone's audience, well, that of course makes sense because he's the same audience. People are, they know him for that. And even more importantly, if the video that we target talks specifically about that, it's even more powerful. On top of that, you can even put keywords. The reason that I also asked you if you can summarize it in one key phrase, what's the problem that you solve for your customers, then you can target that. As long as we use keywords everywhere and you would tell us, okay, this phrase is searched for 10,000 times a month and advertisers are willing to spend $1,000 per click for this phrase, well, boom, now we have a winner, because if 10,000 people are searching for it, we only need 1% or 10% out of it to get us the leads, and then from there book a call, whatever, and then we can get some business, right? We can sell them some stuff, right? We find the problem that we solve. We find the influencers that have a lot of views on those videos. We create a piece of content even on our phone, giving some value. So for example, for you, it would be, so in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can get more leads if we're talking about that leads. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips on how you can get more leads online. Number 1, boom, boom, boom. Number 2, do this. Number 3, this is the step. And then, by the way, if you like this video, below, you can also find an entire presentation of me for 30 minutes, or click the link below and book a call to talk to my team about how we can help you get more leads. And if the video that you're targeting talks about that, boom, guess what? It's targeted. It's right when they need it. It's on their phone. It's even more powerful than Facebook, because YouTube is search intent. So the person that's actually searching for something has a much higher intent to take an action than someone that's just scrolling to the feed, because you need a little more nurture on that process.
Is there any basic budget that you share with people that they should expect for the first 6 months or so to get started?
Budget on spending?
Yeah.
So we always recommend people to only start with like $15, $20 a day. Now, we also need to understand, okay, do you want to, well, first, if you're just doing this for the first time, I'm not going to advise you to spend $100 on each campaign, because that's going to eat up all your budget. Because first, we test, even us, when we take on a client, we need to test first for a couple of days, because at first we'll see what are the things that actually work. We only base the results on numbers. I could sit right here and say, you know, target this video and target this video and whatever, but I may be wrong. But the numbers don't lie. If we look and see, okay, we're getting this amount of clicks, we're getting conversions, we're getting leads. Are the leads buying? No. Okay, well, if we're getting leads but they're not buying, we have a sales process. We don't have a traffic process. We have a funnel issue, maybe the offer, maybe the funnel itself. Let's dial it even more. So what is it? Let's change the offer. The people buy? Cool. Well, the funnel was not the problem. The offer was the problem. Are we changing the offer and they still don't buy? Well, now let's look at the funnel. How many interactions we're getting from the time that they find out about us, book a call, whatever. Why are they not buying? We can physically ask them. Like, hey, what is, you know, can you give me the reason why? Well, I already bought 10 programs like this, so it's the authority on it, right? Like, it can be a couple of things, but we only look at the numbers to dictate how we should take the next action step. So $20 a day, it's a fair way to start. You know, if you're not willing to spend $20 a day,
Well, you
to
need
test,
to get a job.
yeah, to test your message in front of such a high, like you can get for $20 a day, you'll get a couple thousand views on that piece of content. Yeah, it's super cheap. It's like super cheap. But you have to test it. You have to go in and actually open, you know, start. And this can be done even if you have 0 subscribers. It doesn't.
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with your
It's paid
subscribers.
media.
Yeah.
It's paid media.
So the lady that you have, the health coach, talk about where she was, and then you helped her with this campaign and where she's at now.
Yeah, so the YouTube stuff, she's literally just getting into it right now. So far, she did a lot of Facebook Lives. So when we change the transition from her charging 800 to 1,000 all the way to 3,000, it helped her a lot into, okay, now I don't need 3 customers to reach the same amount of money per month. I only need, you know, 1. Like if the whole goal is just 5 to 10K a month, well, it's just a math thing. Like, you just need 3 customers. Last time that I talked to her, she was constantly getting, 5 customers every single time instead of trying to get 20. So that was a huge win. Right now, so she just finished the book last month. Um, she just joined our group program that just started last week of December. So we're working now on a complete, what we just shared, just at a deeper level on how to implement the YouTube stuff, keywords everywhere, and all the rest of the strategies that I shared.
Now, how did you become such an expert? Was it really just by trial and error doing your own?
Yeah, so the difference, I guess, a lot of when I get this question, I'm like, it's not that I just started using these platforms now. I already tested them on my previous business. Yes, that was a brick and mortar shop, so it was a little bit easier to get results because it was all focused locally. But I was spending over there more than 100K a year just on Google alone, putting aside Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all the rest. So I already knew like all the things. Now I just applied it to different industries. So it wasn't that I just started right now and then boom, no, now I know how to use YouTube and things like that. It was just a different industry that I was targeting. That's it. It was like for me, so the way that I got started, remember that I said that first, well, I quit my job. I started my own business. For the 6 months, I didn't make a single, well, maybe I'm exaggerating. For like 3 months, I didn't make a single sale. I was trying flyers to put in the mails and trying to reach out to different universities to try to make contracts and things like that. It didn't work. It was barely breaking even, if that. So then I said, okay, we just need more people to find out about our service. What's the easiest way to do that? People that are searching. Cool. Google AdWords. I just went all into it. At first, I lost some money because I hired somebody without me knowing what to look for. I got burned. I didn't have money to spend. I knew that if I don't put $1,000 and I'm not making a sale, I'm not eating tomorrow, so to say, right? I had couple thousand saves, but essentially it was a pretty straightforward situation.
Yeah.
So I just had to make it happen and just find a way to do it. But yeah, so to answer your question directly, I tested it with my own money for like 2.5 years before.
Well, that's the best kind of coach, is somebody who's already been there, done that, and got burnt themselves. We are all only a couple of degrees of separation away from those people we want to meet. We were just talking about, my guest has actually a podcast, and just a month ago, he was interviewing Grant Cardone. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
It is weird. If you would tell me a year ago that I would have the chance to talk to a person that otherwise I would have had to pay, I don't know, a couple tens of thousands of dollars to sit and talk, I would have said it's not possible. But yeah, so I started my podcast. Officially was January of 2019. And at first I just had a couple of the guests that like for example, somebody in my network, maybe a mastermind that I was part of. So first guest, I think it was Billy Jean. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Billy Jean is marketing big. So his ads are super awesome on YouTube, Facebook. You see them all the time. But since July, so I had this goal in my mind. I said, if in 2019 I want to interview one person, and if it's just one person only, who would that be? And I said, if I can get Uncle G on my show, I'll be stoked. So from July, I started to reach out. So I had a friend of mine that said he had a little bit different opportunities. So Grant Cardone was in Greece, and he posted, hey, if any podcasters are in Greece, hit up my assistant. And then he put the email of the assistant on his story. And I'm like, oh, damn, I'm not in Greece, but I'm going to send an email. And then one of my friends, I saw in his story, like, hey, I'm being interviewed by this person. I'm like, damn, this is my friend. And I messaged him. I said, dude, how did you get? He said, I just emailed the virtual assistant that GC put on his story. And then, well, of course, it was a little bit different because so not a lot of people was on him right now, right there. So it was different. So I emailed that person myself too. Didn't get an answer. About a week later, I sent another email. So I think after like 3 or 4 emails, she responded. She said, GC is out of the country. Follow back in about 3 weeks. So I did. Again, he was in and out, no chance. She said, follow back in another 2 weeks. Cool. So after like 11 emails, she said, I might get to a date around October. What do you think? Does that work? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, you tell me the date and time and I'll just make it happen. So from October, I follow up again. She said, well, unfortunately, he's in and out again. what about December? So I think we did it, I'm trying to remember, I think it was December 3rd that she confirmed. Well, that was like a month before. And I'm like, I don't know if that's actually really locked in stone, because you know how it is, like, you know, with his schedule and his his influence. So bottom line, a week before that, like, I kept sending messages to make sure that it's all set. So December 3rd came. I had an interview with him, almost like 50 minutes. Awesome dude, like super down to earth. We actually talked for like 10 minutes before the interview actually started. Super, super cool. Nothing, you know, weird or anything like that.
So, what's the name of your podcast, and what did you and GC talk about?
So we talked about a couple of things. So name of the podcast is High End Client Acquisition. So people can go on iTunes, Spotify, you know, Google Play, all over the internet. And we talked about how they were able to fill out a stadium last year of like 33,000 people for that
I was
event.
there when he
Yeah.
skydived in.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we talked about that. We talked what is the best time for somebody to invest in real estate versus invest in their business. Like when do you know it's a good time to take some of those profits and put it into real estate instead of putting back into your business? That was a really cool. We also talked about ways of somebody getting better at sales, like an introvert or somebody that says, hey, I'm just not a good salesperson. How do you overcome that and actually become good? And a couple of different topics between these lines. So, but these were the main kind of highlights. So the interview's live now. It went live, I think, next week after I interviewed, because I said, I'm going to postpone the other ones. I want this live on my show because I said I need him live in 2019. So, yeah, my podcast allowed me to connect with people that otherwise I would have not been able to connect. So I interviewed Billie Jean Martin was first of them. Evan Carmichael, like 2.3 million subscribers. Dan Locke, 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. So all these people, I would have not been able to sit and talk to them unless I would have had a platform that I could offer a voice, basically. Like, hey, you know, I interviewed this person and this. Now after GC, it becomes a little bit easier. But because of the podcast, next month I'm being interviewed on Brad Lee's. I don't know if you're familiar with Brad Lee. I'm being interviewed on his show. So I had him on my podcast. That interview goes live next week. And he said at the end, dude, you want to come and talk about your immigrant story on my show? I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Of course I want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody that's considering should have their own show, because it allows you to connect with people that otherwise you would probably wouldn't be able to.
Hence, you and I are here, you know?
Same, exactly.
So just back to your information, you talked a little bit at break about how it's important to test your offer and things organically before you even try to do it online. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So at the end of the day, it's just a matter of, like, you know, the paid media will just put more gas onto that fire. But if you don't have a fire, paid media won't help. Like, it won't just magically change your business. Now, if you have an offer, the best way to test it is with people that already know you. Like, I know a lot of people will say, oh, but I have no list, I have no subscribers, nobody knows me. Wrong. I guarantee that everybody has 600 to 1,000 friends on Facebook. Like, it's impossible not, if you have a business, right? If you've never. So every social channel that you own should be used as a billboard, right? Like your Facebook cover, and I'm talking about profiles. I'm not even talking about pages and groups and things like that. No. So your Facebook page has friends that have friends that may be interested in what you have to offer, but you have to publicly say it. Now, I'm not saying that every day you should post a link to a page that will just charge people money. No. Write a post that gives 5 really tactical steps on how you can actually help people, how you can help your customers. And then at the end, just say, comment below if you want to find out more, and I'll help you schedule a time to talk to me. Period. Nothing complicated, nothing, you know. So I guarantee that at least 1 or 2 person will be interested. Like, at first, you'll have to be willing to, you know, put your head down and work and do these things, and then do some Facebook Lives. Like you're a big proponent of this, and push people to do Facebook. Facebook Live is the best way that people can actually find out about you. Next thing is, if you really don't get anybody to be interested, create a Facebook page, an actual business page, do a Facebook Live and just give value. Like what we just talked here for like half an hour, people can go and implement right now with no need to go and download anything from me. They don't need to watch any of my videos. They can go and implement it. I recommend everybody to replicate that in their own business with whatever the problem, because they have to solve a problem, right? If you're selling t-shirts, that may not necessarily be something that you can do on Facebook Live right away, but I'm sure I can find a way to to put that into perspective. But so talk on Facebook Live and then just go and boost that video for $5 to more people. If it's if you have a business that's local, even easier, because you target just to. I remember when I was, even now when I do some ads that is just in Boston, like it's so much easier because it's just the local space. But boost that video for $5 and people will be interested in watching a video that is free and you don't ask for anything. And then second step, once you have the video that got a couple thousand views, you're gonna get likes, you're gonna get comments. So make sure you go and physically respond to every comment and then go and type and click on that person that commented and send a text and say, hey, John, hey, Marie, whatever. This is Marian. Thank you so much for commenting to my video. If you think you need more help with this, I'll be more than happy to assist you. But stop there. Like don't just slide into people's DMs and pitch yourself. Everybody's gonna block you. So if you do it smart and if you don't try to over pitch it and things like that, the person that's going to be interested will reply back. So then you know, okay, this is something that people are interested. Now I'm gonna test my paid media. Now I'm gonna focus on how to use funnels and stuff. Like, you know, for example, right now I'm helping a small group of people, about 15 of them, to launch their own programs with no paid ads at first, and like pretty much everything that we talked without even having a page that people can put their credit cards. I want to show the exact process because it's simple. Like the same way that they sign up for this, I'm teaching them to implement it for their own business. So the same, like this is the exact process that I just talked about right now. So you post something, you post a video that gives value, half an hour, 20 minutes, doesn't matter. And then at the end, just say, if you're interested, comment below and we'll reach out to talk to you more. And then just schedule a consultation. During the consultation, you should have a success map, like a 3 or 9 step, almost like a roadmap for people to identify themselves where they are in your process. Meaning, for example, if my 9 step is identify the problem, identify competitors, create an offer, test the offer, create paid traffic, organic traffic, paid traffic, sales process, funnel, and automate. If I shared that with somebody and they look at that map and say, oh, I'm missing 6, 7, 8, and 9. I have 1 to 4. Well, I can help you implement 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? It's so important for the person that's on the other side of the screen or on the other side of the call to identify themselves, what they miss in their own business or life, whatever you sell, instead of you just telling them, hey, you need this, this, and that. No. Let the customer say what they're missing and what's their problem, and you just come up with there's no pushy sales techniques. You know, I mean, you can get to that level where after, I don't know, you get to a 7-figure and now you try to get to 8, that's a whole different game.
Yeah.
But at first, I think people try to complicate things too much. Everybody wants their complicated funnel with 10 email sequences and a bunch of no, you don't need that at first at all. Like that, it's impossible for you to see what's missing if you have too many moving parts. What are you going to test? If you have traffic and you don't sell, well, it's a sales process.
So we've got about 90 seconds left. What's the last thing you want our listeners to know to do to connect with you?
To connect with me, so I'm super active on Instagram. I do a daily live Q&A where people join, ask questions. They can ask the questions ahead of time. I just pull them on the screen and I answer them live. Or if they join me live, I literally bring them live. They ask, I answer a specific question, just like we just did right now. So my Instagram is just my name. So it's instagram.com/Marian Esanu. Or if they actually want what I just talked about, they can go to High-End Client Acquisition and download the blueprint. And then from there, they'll be on the newsletter. They can get all kinds of content from me.
And the spelling of the name and the websites and all that will be on our Facebook page. And I just want to thank you for coming in. You've been just an extreme guest. And I really appreciate all of your information that is so useful to so many people in my circle. So thanks for being on.
Brand up.